This week, I am in the throes of preparing for out of town company. So, next weekend, my oldest daughter will be receiving the wonderful, amazing gift of confirmation. I am so excited for her and for our family to celebrate. And so, this week is all about, getting the house ready and trying to get the right food in the house and preparing the rooms and making sure the sheets are washed so they'll be ready to throw on. Our first company arrives on Wednesday, which is right around the corner, and I'm so excited. But Wednesday is not just the day that our company arrives. This Wednesday is also Ash Wednesday. So, ready or not, here it comes. It is time for Lent. So, if you haven't already, now is the time to be thinking about and praying about what you are going to do to fully enter into Lent. And Jesus tells us that we need to be practicing prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. So as you go through Lent, you are invited to choose one item, at least one, from each of those categories, and find ways to grow closer to God through those different practices. So today I'm going to kind of talk about each of them, offer you guys some suggestions, and see if I can't help you and myself get ready for the season of Lent. So when we're talking about prayer, it is really important that prayer is a part of your daily life. And so when you're choosing what you would like to add to your current prayer routine for Lent, I want you to really spend time and assess what your prayer life looks like now. So if you do not have time, like a specific time set aside every single day to spend time with our Lord in prayer, that needs to be your prayer for this Lent. When we are in a relationship with someone, we have to spend time with them. And if you don't spend time with God, you won't know how to feel his presence, understand what he is asking for you, and be strengthened for the day. And so if this is not part of your daily routine, then that is absolutely your bare minimum. We need 10 minutes with Jesus every single day. But if you already have a really great established personal prayer, think about maybe this year adding in prayer with the people that you love, that you live with. If you have kids who are still at home, or a spouse, or other partners or people that you are together with in the home, a really beautiful way to engage and to fully enter into Lent is to do it together as a family. And so you could choose a really simple addition to your prayer time. This could be something as easy as, saying a decade of the rosary as a family after dinner, meditating on the daily gospel reading. There are like a million amazing different ways to pray together as a family. And I think that's just, especially, for all you parents out there, that is just a perfect way to incorporate more prayer into our lives, but also to make sure that we are growing closer together as a family. So next, Jesus tells us that we have to participate in fasting, which is, everybody's favorite thing in the whole world. So there are, of course, fasting days for all of us Catholics on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. But that's not all that we get to do for fasting. We get to choose to give up something. And so everybody talks about giving up, chocolate or sweets or any of that sort of stuff. And that might be a really good and really viable option for you. But when we think about fasting, what we are not supposed to be doing is trying to enter into Lent as a form of a diet and hoping that we lose weight by cutting sugar out of our diet, or trying to rid ourselves of this really bad habit that we've been dealing with for a long time, and we know it's not good for us and we've been trying to quit, but maybe Lent is the time that we should give up cigarettes or some other sinful bad habits that we have. Fasting is not what is meant for Lent. So getting rid of those bad habits are absolutely something that you should do. And you may need to reevaluate your diet and lose some weight at some point, but that's not specifically for Lent. When we are entering into the fast of Lent, we are called to willingly give up something good, like a good gift that the Lord has given us, something that is a blessing that we get to enjoy every day. We get to willingly say, Lord, even though I can have this because it's not sinful, it's not bad, it's not wrong. I choose to deny myself. I choose to let go of this good thing in the name of loving you. And so that might look something like, I mean, it might be sweets. If that's something you have, a dessert every day, you have a little treat that you really enjoy, then it might be giving that up. It might be a morning latte on your way to work. It might be a glass of wine at night. All of those things are not sinful in and of themselves. They're good gifts that God has given us. But by denying ourselves those things, I've heard suggestions to like give up your pillow for Lent. That one I think would be really hard for me, so I'll have to pray about that one. But there's all these like other ways, like you could give up changing the thermostat in your house. If you're a little cold and you're used to just clicking it up a little bit, or you're a little warm and so you click it down a little bit, you could fast from that and say, I will be a little physically uncomfortable temperature wise and not put a sweater on the moment that I'm cold. So those are the sort of ideas that you want to get into when you think about when you're fasting. What is something good that you enjoy every day that you can give up for God? And one of the cool things that you can do, and I strongly recommend this, is if what you decide to fast from actually costs you money, then instead of just pocketing that extra money, so if it's something like, wine at night or a latte in the morning or something like that, take that money and do good with it. And maybe you give it to your church, maybe you give it to your favorite charity, maybe you just take it in cash and keep it in your pocket so that when you come across someone who is in need, you have some cash to just give to them. But you can find a way to do something good with that sacrifice in your life. And the last area that Jesus calls us to, of course, is almsgiving, which most traditionally is interpreted as giving money to the poor. But this can also, and of course, giving money is wonderful. And I hope that you are giving money year round. And so again, when we're talking about Lent, it shouldn't just be like our 10% tithing, like, oh, yep, I do that because all year, the auto draft comes out for the church. And so like that's covered. Lent, we are encouraged to do something extra. And this should be something that is a concerted effort for us. So again, sacrificing something and then taking that money and giving it to a charity or to the church or somebody else who needs it. Like that is a wonderful way to give alms. But if finances are tight, and that's not how you're called to serve, we can also give of our time and of our love freely. And so we can choose to volunteer to give of ourselves. We can do extra work and not bill for all of our full hours. We can find different ways to do like little random acts of kindness and goodness. One thing that my family always does that we love is during Lent, we are called to be holy ninjas. And so we each day are challenged with finding one way to do this like awesome, selfless act of kindness. But we're not allowed to get caught. So if we get caught doing it, then we get our earthly reward. People recognize us and say thanks. Then we have to try to find another one. And so at dinner every night, we get to sit around and talk about how successful we were at being our holy ninjas, and finding ways to like the girls will sneak into each other's rooms and clean up after them or do their chore and not even tell them, or just different ways that they can be kind to someone at school or at home. And I love that as a way of almsgiving, of giving ourselves to others. This is what Jesus calls us to do. So my last suggestion for you guys, or idea for you to pray about and ponder, is several years ago, someone gave me the idea and I loved it so much. And I have done it every year. For part of my almsgiving is I go every single day and I give away one of my personal items. It's clothing, but it's not just clothing. Like it can also be some of, the things I have in my office and my books or kitchen items that I don't use anymore. And I donate those as a way to help foster a healthy detachment from items, and to just remember that I need to just continue to give and serve. And so it was really hard the first year, but honestly, like this year, I'm really looking forward to it. And I've been kind of spying around already, like, ooh, like, okay, I can detach from this and I can detach from that, and looking forward to entering the season like that. And then just before I go, I have one quick little caution for you guys. Remember that when we are entering into Lent, we need to be praying about this, inviting God into these decisions, asking Him to kind of lead us. Like, Lord, how do you want me for the next 40 days to be praying, fasting, and giving alms? Like, what exactly are you asking of me? And when you make that decision and you make that commitment to God, know that you are making an oath to God. And so you are expected to fulfill that. Now, things are going to come up and there are going to be distractions and hecticness, and you may accidentally forget. You may, eat beet on Friday and not be thinking about it, and it might be completely accidental. And if that happens, that is a minor sin. And so you just want to apologize to God and get right back on track as quick as you can. But if you get, halfway through Lent and you say, Lord, I'm tired of not sleeping with a pillow. And so I'm just going to take my pillow back because I just don't feel like doing it anymore. Or, Lord, I know that I said that I was going to pray every day, but it's boring and I'm not really getting anything out of praying. And so I'm just not going to do it anymore. And you willingly choose to stop. That is a very serious sin, because you have gone back on your word, on your oath that you have made to God. And it is really easy to get distracted by the world. And I think one of the most beautiful things about the season of Lent is it challenges all of us to stop, to really assess, like, what am I doing? What does my prayer life look like? How am I overindulging in the things of the world? And how am I greedy with my possessions and my time and my money? And how can I start to live more like you, God? And so when you talk to God together and you make that commitment to Him, stand by that commitment and know that that is what God wants for you. There are so many people praying for you. I will be praying for you. I hope that you will be praying for me. And I pray that you just have an absolutely blessed and wonderful Lenten season so that your hearts are completely prepared to enter fully into the resurrection and the joyful season of Easter. That is all I have for you today. I'm Maria Riley, just a sinner in the throes of trying to be a saint.